Good morning, everyone. This is Murali Krishna Sinapati. Okay, now we will study about algorithm and the basics. So let me write. We will be studying about algorithm. Okay. So let us learn what is an algorithm. Okay. So whenever we want to think, we want to write an algorithm, we'll be thinking of a problem. How to solve a problem. So how to solve a problem? Whenever any problem is given, when we write how to solve a problem in step by step serially, so using some process which will allow you to understand the procedure, that is what we call it as an algorithm. So algorithm can be written using simple English. So in a common way we can say writing writing the problem statements writing the problem statements. So how to solve a problem? That if you write in terms of lines or statements in simple English, in simple English. Okay. So without confusion. So means whenever we write the statement, that must not lead to any confusion. Without confusion. Okay. In countable number of steps. Countable number of steps. Then it is called an algorithm. Okay, writing the problem statements in simple English without confusion in countable number of steps is called algorithm. Okay, so here what we understand, the algorithm number of steps can be countable, means it is finite, not the infinite. And whenever we write the statement, there should have a clear cut meaning to that. It should not lead to any confusion. Okay, in that manner, if you write, then that list of statements, we can call it as an algorithm. So let us consider an example to make you understand. Okay, suppose I want to add some two numbers. Simple. Add two numbers. For that, if you want to write algorithm, maybe I will write enter two numbers. Suppose this is the first line I've written. Second, I will write add them. Okay. And third line I'll write show the result. Show the result. So this line is also considered as an algorithm which explains it. Same thing we may write in another manner. Suppose the first line I will write, say enter two numbers into, okay, x and y, x comma y. Then second line I'll write, say z equal to x plus y. And third line I'll write, say show the result, show the z value. This is another way, let us say I have written. So this is also algorithm. Third line, third way of writing, let us say I will write the first line. Okay, I will consider, say enter, I mean say input into x comma y. Okay, I'll write second line, say z equal to x plus y. And third line, I'll write say print z value. So here my intention to say all these three lines, whatever we have written, all are algorithm. So there is no strict rule that we have to write in this like this. But one thing we have to take it granted, the algorithm whenever you are writing, that should not lead to any confusion. There should be a clear cut procedure. That is what algorithm. So now let us discuss further how we can write the algorithm in standard manner. Why? Because suppose if you write an algorithm, suppose many people will write their own words in English. What happens? A new person will read, they may not have comfortability to understand. If you follow a uniform set of lines, a set of words for writing the algorithm, then it is better way of representation. That is why there is some standard notations are given for the algorithm. So let me go for the next page. Okay. Okay, now we can think of an example. What are the standard notations? By using the standard notations, we will be following the algorithm. So What are the standard notations of algorithm? Let me list out. Standard notations. What are the standard notations? First one, first point. So any explanation can be written within the square bracket, which explains about the algorithm. So that is called as documentation. We'll say documentation can be written within square brackets. Within square brackets. So what is documentation? Documentation is simply an explanation about an algorithm, such as question or formula used, or whoever written the person, the programmer, like that. At which date it is written, like that information, additional information about the algorithm can be written in the form of a documentation. And documentation will be helpful whenever your algorithm is very big and you want to give enough information about the algorithm. So to provide enough information, okay, enough information about the algorithm. What kind of information? Okay, such as question of the algorithm, or the formula used. What is the formula is used? Important formula used. And who developed the algorithm? That is, let us say developer name, at which time or which date it has been developed, so corresponding date. And what is the last modification date, like that, last modified date, etc. All these information we write normally in documentation within square bracket, and this information can be written anywhere in the algorithm. So we can add one more point. The documentation can be written at any place of algorithm. At any place means either beginning or in between or at the end. At any place we can think of writing the documentation. So documentation is not meant for execution, it just provides information about the algorithm. Second kind of statements, second kind of things we'll be finding in algorithm which we supposed to follow, that is say start. We have to use this word start at the beginning of the statements. At the beginning we supposed to use. Okay, similarly stop or end can be used. Stop or end we can use at the end, at the last statement. So start and stop identifies. Start says that algorithm writing is started, and stop says that algorithm writing is completed. So this can be mentioned at the beginning and end. Fourth point, whenever we want to write an algorithm, we think of solving some problem. So we need some memory, we need some area. So that can be declared using let keyword. So we will write here declarations can be using let. So let is a keyword we can use for declaring some memory something. For example, I want to declare two memory locations, namely x and y. So I'll write here let x comma y. Like that we can mention. Okay. So now after that, fifth point, what else we need? We need to, suppose we need to display something in output screen. So how you can write? To display, okay, we can use the words. What are the words we generally use? We can use words such as, okay, the same display word can be used, or print word can be used. So print or display okay, or write. These are the common words for displaying messages or displaying some data, something like that. For example, suppose I want to write good morning. So if I'll write display and I'll write within the double quote good morning, then I want to display this message. Okay, I think we can understand this. Step next point. Whenever you want to enter something from the keyboard, to enter some data from keyboard, some data from keyboard or input device. Generally, we think of keyboard, okay? Input device, we can write input statement. We can write input statement because we want to enter, okay? How? Using, what are the words can we use? We can use input word, or we can use accept, or we can write enter or input accept and input display. Read can be used, right? So these are the words we can use for input. For example, I want to enter the data into variables a and b. So I'll write input, okay, a comma b, or I will write read, read a comma b, etc. For example. So this way we can write the statement. So suppose, what is the next line? Whenever you want to store some data, to store or assign some data, we can write. How we can write? We can write as x equal to, suppose if I'll write 25. What is the meaning of it? I am assigning 25 to x. This can be written as x colon equal to 25. Means here colon equal to is symbol for assigning the data. Or the same thing can be written as x a reverse arrow, which is also called as assignment 25. Means you are assigning this 25 to x memory. So all these three are same expressions, which is representing assigning the data from left side to right side variable. Okay, now go, let us explain further. So now if I will using these notations, we can think of writing some algorithm. Okay, so one more point we can think of, uh, let us, one more thing, next point. What is the next point? What was the seventh point? So I will go for eighth point. The eighth point, all formulas, whatever the formulas you are using, formulas in mathematics can be used as it is. Okay, just we can use the formulas. We can use the operators also same manner. Okay, all operators can be used as it is. Okay, can be used as it is. So these all are allowed. Now let us think of a sample algorithm for doing the with the help of these notations. So let us consider an example. Just for adding two numbers, same example we will write by following this notation. So I will write add, this is the question, okay, add two numbers. So for this, if I will think of writing the algorithm, okay, I'll write first documentation, say algorithm for addition. Say this is the explanation I have written, algorithm for addition. Done. Then I will write step number 1, start. So we are starting the algorithm. Then step number 2, I have to think of whatever the memory is required. So we can write, say let, okay, x comma y, comma z. So these names can be ABC, XYZ, PQR, anything which represents, say, we are assuming three memory locations, namely XYZ. Okay, so we are assuming that. Then step number 3, I will write a message, say display. Okay, display, enter two numbers, enter two numbers. So by seeing this message will be shown in the output screen. By seeing this message, you will be typing two numbers. Which numbers you are typing from the keyboard, they will be taken with the help of this input statement from the input device, that will be taken and will be stored into corresponding XY memory locations. Which two data will be typing? Those two data respectively, serially, it will be stored into X and Y. Then in the step number 5, what you want to do? You want to add. So we'll write here, say z equal to x plus y. So we are adding. Now what shall I do? I should display the result. So step number 6, I will write, say I'll write display, I'll write sum is, means the addition is, then that sum is message I have written within the double quote, then comma and z variable, means z data it will print. Then what shall I do? I write step number 7 for stop. Now this is what my algorithm. Now this algorithm, if I dry run, if I think of explaining this, how it will execute. First of all, for that, I have to think of memory locations. This is my memory. Okay, whatever memory I have, those memory I have declared here in step number 2. Let x, y, z. So x is a memory, y is a memory, and z is a memory. Three memory locations are created, okay, which are used. Now I will think of output screen. This is my output screen, let us assume. Now in the output screen, what it will display? When I'll execute step number 3, display enter two numbers. So enter two numbers. This message is shown and cursor is blinking here. Now when you are executing next step, step number 4, input x comma y, means during that time you may be typing two numbers, right? Suppose I will enter 20 and 30 and I am pressing enter key. When I am typing 20 and 30, I am typing from the keyboard, so that is nothing but input device. So those data will be stored in the respective x and y variable. So what the x is containing? The first data 20. What is the y containing? The second data 30. So these data stored in the x and y. Now when you will execute step number 5, z equal to x plus y. So z, x and was x plus y, this 20 plus 30, 50 is stored in the z variable. When you will execute step number 6, display, what you will be displaying? Sum is. So in the output screen, it will display sum is, that message. Then z value. What is the z value? 50. 50 will be displayed. And after that, step number 7, stop. So it is terminated. Now in the output, if you will observe, it is asked, say enter two numbers, and you have entered two numbers here, say 20 and 30 you have entered. Then output, it is displaying that sum is 50. So this manner the algorithm it is executing. So this is just the basic, what exactly the algorithm means and how the algorithm we can write. So we can continue in the next class again about details about the algorithm.